And what it all comes to, in my mind, as a clinician working with youth and working with their family, is this idea of fear. And I think we are all under a lot of anxiety and fear. And again, I'll go back to my first picture and that looks differently for different people. I was speaking with a friend of mine who is a clinical researcher. And her biggest fear right now is that she's going to lose her grant money and that her team will be just kind of disentangled and it'll be upheaval with her research team. And that's a real fear. And I said to her, my gosh, I can't even imagine what this be like for you and your team. And you know what she said to me? She said, I know, but yet I have not much to lose as a white, cisgender female living, you know, in the part of the country that we live in with a husband who is able to carry us financially if I were to lose my career. For me, I still don't have that much to lose except for my career. I can't imagine the people who are in fear of losing their home, in fear of losing their identity, in fear of losing their safety. That even my fear and my anxiety cannot be compared to those who are having other fears and anxiety. And I thought, oh my gosh, of course, right? So it's just important to name that because even as I name anxiety and fear, that has to be put into context. And we are not going to be we're not going to engage in what I call um, like suffer Olympics. Who has it worse? That's not what I mean, right? We're not going to get into that. And it's not helpful to get into that. What is more helpful is to understand what we are all individually experiencing. And as we're helping young people to listen for what are they afraid of? What is causing their anxiety? And what are the things that we can do to help minimize some of that in the powers that we have? Recognizing that we ourselves are also holding our own sets of fears and anxiety.